usually try to work carefully at my own pace and focus on completing tasks step by step. However, I grew up in a fast-paced environment that emphasized speed and efficiency, which has influenced me to work quickly and focus on completing tasks as soon as possible. However, this sometimes causes me to overlook small details. For example, when I worked as a barista, I occasionally missed small details like putting a garnish, straws, or napkins for customers because I was in a hurry. But as a cabin crew member, I know that being thorough is very important. To overcome this, I started using a small note to follow the recipes step by step. Also, I always verbally double-check with my colleague before serving. This habit has helped me improve my accuracy. As a cabin crew member, I will continue to work carefully at my own pace and make sure that every task is done properly.
I know that in aviation, quick decision-making is very important. However, I tend to take my time when making decisions, which sometimes means I take longer than needed. For example, when I was a new employee, there were times when I spent extra time considering different options because I wanted to find the best solution. To get better, I asked senior colleagues for advice. They told me that thoroughly knowing the manual is the biggest help. So I started practicing decisions in different scenarios and focused on memorizing the manuals. This helps me make quicker and more confident decisions when it's necessary. As a cabin crew member, I will continue to study the manuals carefully and learn from senior crew members so that I can respond appropriately and quickly in any situation.
Everyone can make mistakes. However, I grew up in a competitive environment, so I often feel pressure to always perform perfectly. Sometimes I can be too strict with myself because of this. To overcome this, I changed how I handle my mistakes. For example, when I worked at a cafe as a barista, there were times I made small mistakes during busy hours. Instead of just stressing about it, I started writing down the mistake in a feedback note after my shift. I analyzed why it happened and asked the senior colleagues for advice. By doing this, I turned my mistakes into lessons. As a cabin crew member, I will continue to study the manuals carefully to minimize mistakes. I will use this note-taking habit to learn quickly and perform my duties confidently without putting too much pressure on myself.